How y'all doing?
Hey, we doing good. You want to address
I
the
mean,
bill?
I have no problem with FBA because I consider myself Muslim. When it comes down to heritage, when it comes down to what I'm saying, when it comes down to pride, when it comes down to history, I understand all of the FBA principles. But the one thing y'all got to understand is, without representation in this nation, we're not going to get nothing. I define American by the Constitution because that is the written law. But if they change the 14th Amendment, then we all are in jeopardy of losing our rights because the law has changed. And it won't matter what your birth certificate says. It won't matter if you're here first generation, second, or third. It won't matter. If they get their hands on the 14th Amendment, then we're in trouble. Because all the Civil Rights Act, everything we fought for from 1965 is based on the principles of us being citizens from the 14th Amendment. We cannot allow that. We cannot keep dividing ourselves along political lines, nor cultural lines, nor religious lines, because we are all under the same flag of oppression. Doesn't matter if you're Jamaican American, doesn't matter if you're African American, if you're in Africa. Racism goes by the color of your skin. You are categorized by that. You are demonized by that. And if we do not get out and vote, and we do not have any form of representation, then we can't change the law nor the system. Because it was not designed for us, man. I land my plane. Thank y'all.
Yeah, brother, you didn't even address the prompt. Um, this is the
Said the
issue.
law.
Hold
I
on.
did
You
address the
landed.
prompt.
We don't
I
do that
said
here.
the
Hold on, brother. Just get
Constitution.
some decorum. Just get some decorum. We allow people to speak here. It's my turn. So yeah, you didn't address the prompt. Okay. We said what makes a real American. Y'all went off into some DNC thing. This is not the night to center the DNC tonight. This is not Kamala hour. Okay. This is where we define who is a real American, right? And so that's what we wanted opinion on, is what makes someone a real American. Could you, I don't know if Ms. Love wants you to answer that or not. I know
I
you had a,
said the law. The Constitution defines, as it is written to this very day and moment, defines who is an American citizen and who is not. It's the law.
And then he went
That
to go on about the 14th Amendment. And now what are you saying we should do as Black Americans again?
in Black American unity. We got to have the power of representation the way the system is designed as it is. We are not going to be able to create a sovereign nation within a nation because we still are under the jurisdiction and the laws of the United States.
Now, really, how would the why should we care about the 14th Amendment?
Because without the 14th Amendment, then it takes away your clarification as being an American. What
How
the prompt
so?
says. Because there is no longer any birthright citizenship without the without the 14th Amendment. So how are you going to
But
prove
it was
that you're,
it
wait,
was
hold
black
on.
people weren't Black American citizens already.
How?
yes.
But that does not apply to the jurisdiction of the laws that we are under currently. It doesn't
So,
apply to
so how
that.
can that harm
It's
us?
good.
Hold
It's
on,
good.
really. Hold on. How can that harm Black Americans by them what you reviving the 14th Amendment?
Because under the classification of the legal system, then you are no longer a citizen. Without birthright citizenship,
Well, where would
none
we
of
be?
us.
Where would we be a citizen of then?
Good question. But you won't be a citizen by
Boom.
legal definition. That is a
I'm
problem.
sorry, that's not true. First of
How?
all, because the 13th and the 14th Amendment go together, and the baby follows the belly law automatically makes us citizens. We are not only citizens, we are naturalized citizens by those
But
three things
if
together.
they eliminate the
So
14th, you
They're
don't
not
think they're not going
eliminating
to
it,
eliminate the
sir.
13th
you
along with
still
it?
have right, they're not they can't eliminate us because we, first of all, if you remember, first of all, we were already sovereign. We came together with the United States, and that's when they wrote the Constitution, the 13th, the 14th Amendment, and the baby follows the belly law. So it is impossible to take away a
American,
citizenship.
real quick, after you
Yeah,
land your plane, I want American Negro to have a back and forth with him after you
yeah.
land
Okay.
your plane. Hold on a
Okay.
minute.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
just for
that's
that.
that's
Yeah.
what I wanted to say.
Did you finish though?
Yes.
Okay, American Negro, have you listened to this man?
Yeah. I came up just. I was scrolling through love. You came up
Thank
just for
you.
this
Thank
clarification.
you.
So, American, the sister is right. But the baby fall of the womb or the belly law is what's called partus sequitur ventrium. It's 1682. It's colonial law. It did pass over into the slave codes of 1740s and 1730s. Again, if let me see if I can get this up on my tablet if anyone needs to have this proof shown. But the partus sequitur ventrium, which is the baby follows the womb or baby follows the belly law, that was first passed by the colony of Virginia in 1662. Right, because the Barbados slave codes was 1661. So yeah, 1662 was that law. That when the first colony had passed it, then all the colonies passed versions of that law, the 13 colonies. That law had survived the Revolutionary War to be inculcated inside of the slave codes all the way down to the 1740s. South Carolina, Virginia, all the 33 states by 1830. So that's the first thing. The second thing I want to say, the United States did not have a universal citizenship. The federal government was not the purview of the United States federal government. The federal government allowed every state to have its own version of citizenship. That is why you have free Negroes in the North. Some could sue, others could not. In the state of Delaware, the Negro could not inherit land. They could not be a part of testate, what we call estates, right? And so that's why all the white folks on TikTok like to talk about Anthony Johnson and how he owned slaves, this black African owned slaves, but they don't talk about that the slaves that he owned were his own son. And at the time that Anthony Johnson was unalived, he passed away, his son could not inherit the estate because, again, the privileges and immunities of the government did not extend to all Negroes uniformly across all 33 states by the time the 1830 had rolled around. We've been discussing this for years about this. But so Miss American up there in the catty corner, right below Loves, she is correct. Number one, that the baby follows the belly law was implemented and it survived the pre-colonial period. And then number two, the United States did not have a universal standard or uniform standard in which to confer citizenship upon its citizens. It left that up upon all of its member states. That is why some 80 years later, when we get to 1866, and the 14th Amendment, that is why in the very first paragraph it says, in the states in which you reside. You are a citizen in the state in which you reside. Meaning that if I were to travel from, let's say I was a South Carolinian, if I were to travel to Florida, me and my wife in this hypothetical, and my wife has the baby in Florida, am I a citizen of the United States but a resident of Florida? No. Right? I'm traveling to Florida to see my kinfolk or whatever it is, but I am a citizen of South Carolina, right? The same thing should happen when you're Russian. If you're from Russia and you're just to have a kid, is that kid a resident of Florida? No, it is on tour. It's on the family's on holiday. So why is it that we give automatic citizenship to children of foreigners who happen to be here contemporaneously or temporarily, right? It doesn't make any sense. And I'll go ahead and mute.
Okay,
Can
Rick.
I get your response to that, please?
Hold on, Dr. O. It's really time. Really? Final say?
My response to that is simply this: federal laws override state laws, and if that wasn't necessarily the case, we would not be under the jurisdiction of the United States of America. So whatever type of precedents that you're trying to quote, without the Constitution backing that precedence, it does not have legal standing. It does not have feet. It does not have a foundation. The federal law jurisdiction overrides any state precedents. You have to
So are you
understand that.
pro-immigration?
Am I pro-immigration?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, of course I'm pro-immigration. The right way. Get that right. Not illegal, you know what I'm saying, undocumented immigration, but legal immigration. Yes, I'm for that. Yes, I am.
Well, we not. So
I understand, and
yeah.
I can understand you're
So the
not, and I can
14th
understand
Amendment,
why.
I hope it get revised.
Jacob Howard. So, for the 14th Amendment, I understand this, that by the time the 1850s are rolled around, we had the Dred Scott case. Dred Scott case, Samuel, I've been listening to what Samuel has to put out. Samuel is a researcher. He is a scholar. I do acknowledge Samuel as being a researcher here on TikTok. When I listen to Samuel and what he has, some of this stuff just blew my mind. He has actually done a documentary on the Dred Scott case. I would implore that all of you who want to learn more from an academic source, please friend Samuel and go and listen and learn from him. He did a literal documentary on the Dred Scott case. The Dred Scott case was deliberated by the head jurist Tawney. That's Tawney. Tawney was politically corrupt. He never should have been the head jurist on the Supreme Court. He was given that position as the head jurist by political favors, and so Tawney reconstructed this narrative that Dred Scott was a slave. Dred Scott was never a slave. He was actually kidnapped. He was kidnapped, and so that whole case was crap just from the beginning. But anyway, we go from the Dred Scott case.
Well, we gotta land your plane too. So
yeah, I'm sorry. Let me make this very quick. We go from the Dred Scott case to the 14th Amendment. What I'm trying to explain to you about the 14th Amendment is that when Jacob Howard, the representative who proffered the 14th Amendment, what he said makes absolute sense, which is that the 14th Amendment was just for Black Americans or the freedmen, the ones that were free. Matter of fact, they went, give me 7 more seconds. They wanted to get rid of, they did not want gypsies or Asians to be a part of the birthright citizenship claim. They never wanted gypsies or Asians to be a part of the birthright citizenship claim. They wanted to make birthright citizenship exclusionary. And so, and if you read the deliberations on the House congressional floor, you'll understand that. It was very exclusionary. It was meant to cure the problems of the freedmen during the end of the Civil War. And I'll end. Thanks so much for letting me speak, love.
Muted, Miss Luck.
Sorry, Dr. O, you had something you wanted to say? I don't know if it was for American or not.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna land, and I have to go take care of some business.
Okay, go ahead.
And that is, we can talk about all the laws that they set up before anybody came to this continent. We were already here running government and doing our own thing. They didn't come over here and find people with bones in their noses not knowing what to do. They came over here and got educated. And if all you guys would get on your computer or your phone and you look at the immigrants that came over here from the early 1900s to 1920, it was about 12 to 15 million of them that came over here on ships, and the pictures are there to illustrate all that. So before they came over here and took advantage of some nice indigenous people to set up their fictitious government, because the federal government is about as federal as Federal Express, okay? It ain't no government. This is a corporation being ran. And the people that don't know that, then they play these games. But like I said, if we get to the truth, if we just would tell the truth, the only people that would have an opinion on what to say it is and it isn't is the copper-colored, melanated indigenous people of this continent. Everybody else would have to zip their lip. But since they came over here, and the foundations of what a lot of people speak on is nothing but lies. But what I love is that the truth is coming out, and a gentleman made a beautiful point. Hey, in order for us to come together, in order for us to do what we're supposed to do, we can't have no differences amongst us. There's no differences amongst other races that have came over here and established themselves in this nation. You can't have differences. You got to unite, because before they separated us, man,